I haven't eaten sugar since 1983. Not a spoonful, not a bite, not one cookie. 40 years. Every doctor I've had since then told me I was missing something, that I was being extreme, that moderation was the answer. Every single one of those doctors is dead. I'm 91 years old. I still know what day it is. I still tend my own garden. And I want to tell you what 40 years without sugar actually does to a human body, because they are never going to tell you this themselves. It was the spring of 1983. I was 51 years old, and I watched my closest friend get her diagnosis. Her name was Betty, sweet woman, funny as all get out. She had a sweet tooth her whole life, candy dish on her desk at work, dessert after every single meal, sweet tea from morning to night. That's her. 1974. We worked together at the hospital. Look at that smile. Betty was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 55. By 60, she had neuropathy in both feet. By 63, she was gone. Kidney failure. I sat at her funeral and I made a decision right there in that pew. I drove home. I opened every cabinet in my kitchen. I threw away every single thing with sugar in it. Every box, every bottle, every jar. It took 45 minutes and 3 garbage bags, and I have never looked back. Now let me tell you what actually happened when I stopped eating sugar, because nobody talks about this part honestly. The first week was miserable. I want to be straight with you. I had headaches. I was irritable. I snapped at my husband Harold twice over nothing at all. Poor man just asked what was for dinner. By day 3, I was craving sugar the way you crave water in August. It is a real withdrawal. Do not let anyone tell you differently. But here is what they don't tell you about that first week. It means it was working. Your brain, which had been running on dopamine hits from sugar like a slot machine, was finally starting to recalibrate. By week 2, something shifted. I woke up one Tuesday morning and I realized I had slept straight through the night. No 3 a.m. waking, no restlessness, just sleep. Full, deep, real sleep, for the first time in years. Within a month, the afternoon crashes stopped. You know the ones. 2 o'clock hits, and it feels like someone pulled the plug. Gone. My energy became even, all day long, like a slow river instead of a series of waves. Within 3 months, my skin cleared. I was 51 years old, and people were asking me what I was doing differently. I said, nothing. I just stopped doing one thing. And here is the one that surprised me most. About 6 months in, Harold looked at me across the dinner table and said, Margaret, you seem happier. Not healthier, happier. And he was right. The mood swings I had accepted as just part of life, gone. The low-grade anxiety I carried around like a coat I'd forgotten I was wearing, lighter. Sugar is not just food. It is a mood drug, and most people are addicted to it without knowing they are addicted to it. Now here is what they have finally admitted, after 40 years of telling us otherwise. A study came out just recently from researchers in California. They found that cutting just 10 grams of added sugar a day, 10 grams, that is less than 1 can of soda, is the equivalent of turning your biological clock back 2.5 months. 2.5 months younger, from cutting 10 grams. I cut it all, 40 years ago. You want to know what sugar actually does inside your body? It binds to your proteins, damages them. The scientists call it glycation. You know what glycation looks like from the outside? This photograph is from 1974. That is my neighbour Carol. She and I were the same age, 51, in this picture. Carol had a sweet tooth her whole life, believed everything in moderation. She died at 79. This is what she looked like at 65. Now, I am not showing you that to be cruel. I am showing you because I have watched this happen in real time, on real faces I have loved. Sugar ages you from the inside out, and it does it slowly enough that you never see it coming until it is already done. Now I know what you are thinking. Margaret, if I can't have sugar, what is there to live for? I hear that. I said the same thing in week 1. Here is what I actually eat, and I want you to notice how simple this is. Eggs, every morning, real butter, real salt, meat and vegetables for every other meal, fruit when I want something sweet, because fruit has fiber with its sugar, and your body handles that completely differently. And here is the thing nobody tells you about quitting sugar. After about 3 months, your taste buds recalibrate. An apple starts to taste like candy. A carrot becomes sweet. Almonds taste almost like dessert. Your body was not designed to need the level of sweetness that modern food has trained it to crave. That sweetness is manufactured. It is engineered. It is designed in a laboratory to make you want more. And when you step away from it long enough for your body to remember what real food tastes like, you realize you were never actually enjoying it. You were just feeding an addiction you didn't know you had. Now I want to tell you something that has nothing to do with sugar and everything to do with it. The reason most people cannot quit sugar is not willpower. I want you to hear that. It is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is because they are using sugar to fill something that food was never meant to fill. I know this because for the first few weeks without it, I had to figure out what I was really hungry for. And it turned out I was using that 3 o'clock candy bar to cope with loneliness. The kids were grown. Harold was at work. The house was quiet. And somewhere in that quiet, I had trained myself to reach for something sweet instead of sitting with the feeling. This is my granddaughter Clara. She was 3 years old when I quit sugar. She is 43 now. She calls me every Tuesday. I think about the fact that if I had kept eating the way Betty did, the way Dr. Marsh told me was perfectly fine, I might not be here for those Tuesday calls. Quitting sugar gave me 40 more years of Tuesday mornings. That is what I want you to understand. This is not about vanity. This is not about a number on a scale. This is about how much time you have left and what you are going to do with it. I am 91 years old. I have not had a teaspoon of added sugar since Ronald Reagan was president. My joints don't ache. My mind is clear. My doctor looks at my blood work and then looks at me like she is trying to solve a puzzle. Last year she said, "Mrs. Thompson, whatever you're doing, keep doing it." I said, "I stopped doing one thing, sweetheart, 40 years ago." and everything else followed from that. Now, I am not telling you this will be easy. The first week will be hard. Your head will hurt. You will be irritable. You will stand in front of the cabinet looking for something that isn't there anymore. Do it anyway, because on the other side of that week is sleep you have forgotten was possible, energy that does not crash and burn, a mind that stays clear until bedtime, and years, possibly decades, that you did not know you were about to lose. Betty never got those years. Dr. Marsh never got those years. A lot of people I loved never got those years. You still have the chance to get yours. Now go clean out your cabinet and call me on Tuesday. I'll be here. If these words meant something to you, share them with one person you love, one person who needs to hear this. And subscribe, because I have a lot more to say. And Lord willing, I have got the time to say it.